Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Piglet here once again, and I'm Mickey Mouse here. We are back for the Maxi Toys, and welcome back to tomorrow's play of Super Smash Bros. Melee from the Nintendo GameCube. So last time that we actually did manage to finish up with Classic Mode as Pikachu, even though we actually did that pretty solid and pretty nice little run. And even though, despite the fact that I believe we actually did lost just only one stock, and that was actually in the final battle against Crazy Head and Master Hand. So, anyway, so today for this episode, we're about to return back to the adventure mode to actually select again the next bunch of newcomer characters introduced in this game. So, you know about previously last time that we actually did use Ice Climbers, which we pretty much dominated for Ice Climbers in normal difficulty. So today for this video session is the fact that we're actually moving on into Zelda / Sheik, which this means there might be two characters all in one. Now the reason why we say that is because we'll get into that as soon as we actually get into that. So yeah, for this point folks, is that this may actually be the last time that the final time before we actually just jump into a different mode until during the next week, because we might take a break on the adventure mode for the time being after we finish up the adventure mode as Zelda / Sheik. But anyway though, so we'll get to that until discussion about this later. So how is Zelda / Sheik actually plays out? Because basically, as you can saw, that Zelda can actually perform, including Sheik as well, can perform themselves a little bit of the mid-air teleportation ability, which that might be really handy if you're actually trying to do not fall off to the bottomless pit down below, which I think is really handy if you're actually trying to do this way. And also that if you're actually going to be using down B special attack, this will actually just allows Sheik or Zelda to actually just transform into either Zelda or Sheik. So as far as Zelda's first appearance is concerned, she was basically first appearance, which was The Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So, and as for Sheik, however, she was actually first appearance as in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time from the Nintendo 64. Because as soon as you're actually getting towards the, I'm assuming almost the halfway point of, in this case, the adult Link section, if you haven't played Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time before. Specifically, if you play this on the 3DS version nowadays, especially the N64 version as well. And somehow we're gonna bump into Luigi now. But even then, though, we haven't done Luigi's battle for a while since Princess Peach. But the only time we haven't encountered Luigi was Ice Climbers. But anyway, though, as far as the actual different attributes, as far as how both of those characters is concerned. No, technically Sheik was supposed to be another character, so in this case this game actually has a grand total of 26. At least I'm expecting that, because, well, obviously Zelda is a thing, but then if you actually try to include Sheik, this means she will technically it does count for just an artificial character or something like this. So unfortunately we're not doing really good at the run though at the moment at the beginning, mostly because of I found that the Sheik's offense or defense department is actually a little bit too ridiculously low. But even though it wasn't as defense high as it was for Bowser or even Donkey Kong for that matter. But anyway though, as far as the standalone B attack is that both Zelda and Sheik can do the specific different abilities when actually what they're trying to deal with just a standalone B smash attack and even the side special attacks, which I'm presuming that Zelda can actually perform herself a little diamond projectile, in this case as the shield dual defense thing, which can actually just allow Zelda can do a spin attack onto the opponent itself. And also that in Sheik, did that Donkey Kong, in this case Tiny Donkey Kong, just killed himself? Wow, what a committed suicide he actually performed right there. Anyway, so yeah, as far as Sheik is concerned, she can do a little bit of a different attack than the ones in Zelda's, because all she does is that she can actually just throw those little tiny grenades, or no, not grenades, because grenades is a bomb. Usually that you can actually just shoot a tiny portion of the projectiles. But even then, though, I don't know if it doesn't count, although we haven't exactly played as Sheik for a long time, or even Zelda for that matter. Why do we keep on falling off into the jungle japes all the time? Jeez, that happens every time, especially when we did Fox's classic mode. Jeez, we're gonna have to stop doing this right now. But even then, though, we won't get into this mode again until we actually get into... After we actually take a break onto this specific adventure mode, before we actually move on to a different mode. Specifically next week. Oh yeah, one thing you probably know something is that if you do a side B side special attack for Zelda and Sheik, is that Zelda can actually perform herself a homing fire spirit, which can actually provide us who actually just probably in just your fire spirit department, so that if you time your B button well enough, then you should probably just try to aim the fire power at these opponents until then. It can be a little bit tricky to time it with sometimes, I find, because sometimes assumedly I always attempt to miss those targets really easily. And also that the side special attacks for Sheik is that she can actually perform herself a little bit of a chain, which, as you can saw, that we actually did, we're trying to fight the duplicate of Sheik at the moment right now, but even though she's in red, but I even know that we actually just managed to doing pretty alright, pretty average, but at the same time we're getting butt kicked at these opponents until then. At least every now and then anyway, so... Yeah, that's all I can say about Zelda / Sheik's movements. In this case, it's the special moves and stuff. There's one thing we haven't mentioned this to you guys, is the fact that in this case a lot of people seem to did not see this one coming, and we actually somehow lost a stock, so that was a piece of crap. So we need to not waste our time in this fight, because if we actually wasted our time on that fight, we pretty much guarantee we're not going to fight Giga Bowser as from both Zelda or Sheik somewhere, so... Come on, we just need to guide the Zelda just onto that little bomb there, and there we go. So yeah, one thing we haven't mentioned this to you guys is the fact that we haven't mentioned it to you guys, not only do we have one, but two newcomers into the Maxi Toys department characters-wise. Now you guys are probably thinking about, jeez, why you guys aren't nearly over with these newcomers already? Well, because the reason being for this solution is because, well, Mario doesn't have himself his true love yet. And that's because we actually managed to find out is that the newcomer onto the Maxi Toys channel department is known as Princess Peach, and also Toad doesn't have himself his wife yet. But even then though, we decided to actually introduce yourselves into just two new special characters introduced into this channel. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Princess Peach here. Hi, I'm Toadette here.
Hey, it's nice to meet you both. Yeah, it's been a long time coming since when you actually just managed to realize that it's been better late than never, I suppose, for both you two, because obviously, judging by the fact, don't judge a book by its cover, is the fact that you might actually just know something that you want to actually desperate to join in our YouTube channel right now, you two.
Yeah, because whenever I first saw the Maxi Toys, as far as the your YouTube channel is concerned, you guys are doing really, really well. In fact, you guys actually owned 105 subscribers, which is really, really cool for the record. Yeah, I will agree with you, Toadette.
Yeah, especially that how since we actually got ourselves a capture card with us, even then you can actually see you guys the gameplay footage even much more better quality. Cause yeah, what happened to back in the old days? Whenever I saw the older videos like the Mario Party 1 through 8 Let's Plays, what happened to those? Well, basically that we actually gave ourselves a pretty miserable quality. Like, the only method that we actually did use is actually the Buzzle Beat camera, which unfortunately the quality itself on that particular camera we used back in the day is really miserable, like 240p. I mean, geez, no thank you. Well, at least when we actually get into, although the first ever capture card that we actually owned, it was actually the EZ cap, which we actually owned it back in 2013, but until in 2015, that first capture card died due to the fuzzy screen constantly going on with it. But then later on, when we actually get ourselves the
into 2015, which was last year, that we actually got ourselves a new capture card, which was slightly bit more upscale than the ones in the previous counterparts. But even then though, we actually have ourselves a direct audio, which is a huge plus. Granted, we still managed to try to actually do some comedy, or in this case commentary every once in a while. And also the quality itself is even much more nicer and cleaner. Which, I kind of wish of how we can actually set those YouTube videos into 60 frames per second. But I'm assuming we might actually talk for that discussion until when we actually get into 2018 at some point. Well, not at least until then. Oh crap, we actually kept on falling off. Somehow, for some strange reason, is that that hat Kirby right there is like constantly getting himself stuck underneath the block. Yeah, I don't think we can actually fight against with Giant Kirby for this one because we wasted our time on that part. Oh well, what can you do? So how come you actually just didn't manage to play yourself Princess Zelda right there? Or for that matter, specifically both Zelda and Sheik, because if you probably can tell Princess Peach that usually Zelda actually has two like an additional bonus character introduced throughout as well. But even then though, that I've already explained more onto those if you guys are probably wondering. So anyway. So, before we actually get into the other stuff there, folks, is that, not to mention, since, while Peach and Toadette is gonna sit down and watch when we actually play some Smash Bros. Melee at the moment. Oh, by the way, I wasn't on this game, though. Yeah, no, Toadette, because you weren't born in this game. Because you were born, in this case, first appearance was obviously Mario Kart Double Dash. And then you later on revealed it until when it gets to Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Smash Bros. 4, but you're the part of the trophy. Yeah, I kind of more indulgent for that, honestly. And as you can tell, Fox has got trapped by the underneath cannon shots for the Star Fox Lyat cruise or something like that. But even then, though, if you get touched by the laser that's trying to active, that way it'll just try to instantly KO you. So you have to watch out for that enormous damage output. Unfortunately, still we haven't fight against with Falco yet. I'm pretty sure it's only just a matter of the timing you have to deal with when you're trying to deal with Fox first. So, yeah, unfortunately though, we have to wait until sometime when we actually get into the last three the proper newcomer fighters. Specifically that when we get into Mewtwo, Marth, and even Mr. Game & Watch. In fact, we might actually save Mr. Game & Watch's character for the final video, just because Mr. Game & Watch is easily the final character you easily unlock. But even then though, that perhaps it's more likely we'll discuss more into those unlockable characters until when we actually get into the next couple of videos. So anyway though, so now we move on to Pokemon Stadium. Unfortunately though, I don't think there's any 100% guaranteeing that we actually just defeat these bunch of Pikachus, excluding one Pichu and Jigglypuff. I don't think there's any possible to actually do this with one stock. Yeah, because I'm assuming that a bunch of those Pikachus gets only one legendary Pokemon, which was the Unknown. But even then though, we have this little oh crap, oh god. Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. Ah, I should have known. Oh well, at least I'll just use 3 coins to use it. Seems it's pretty weird because out of all the adventure mode characters we actually used so far for this Let's Play, the fact that we actually did manage to not use any continues as the Ice Climbers, but for whatever reason between those 3 characters at the moment, well, besides that we actually only have one continue in the classic mode, mainly in Fox most likely, despite the fact that that it has been a long time since you actually played as Fox back in the day. Perhaps you need to get more practice than that though, Piglet. Yeah, I know that, right, Peach? But even then, that you actually first appearance in this game right here, as far as Super Smash Bros. Community services. But anyway though. Oh, really? Come on, I forget what I said. Yeah, sorry for a bit of a lack of commentary at the moment, but anyway. So since when Peach and Toadette is going to be joined in for the time being, and then eventually in the next couple of videos until later, that means you'll, both of those can actually just manage to get to those videos eventually. So anyway, so a few things we want to mention about something is the fact that Well, obviously, since yesterday, that Pokemon Sun and Moon just recently released on Pokemon Sun and Moon. I think I already mentioned this before. That recently they managed to came out yesterday in UK. However, we managed to try out the special demo version which did recently came out a couple of days ago. And for you play it, I had a lot of fun with it. Even though that we actually managed to come across into Greninja, the very first Pokemon you start off with in the special demo version of Sun and Moon. Which I found was kind of not surprising, actually. Well, I felt really excited about this, because not to mention, though, that it seems more likely as soon as you actually progress onto Pokemon Sun and Moon, that means you have the ability to, like, Greninja transform into Ash Greninja, which is really awesome, kind of think about it. I don't know if they actually made an appearance on that during Pokemon X and Y, and even for Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and even Omega Ruby. But even then, we haven't looked up to those games either. So anyway, now, if you can hear at the moment, it's the fact that, although granted we actually complete the stage already, that there is actually a Mech Rider track from F-Zero Grand Prix some stage, which by the looks of it, that according to what it says on Super Smash Bros. Brawl, you're trying to unlock that CD. And then basically that track was actually known as Mech Rider, which I can't know exactly what that game was from, but even then we'll have to find out until on the other sort of sessions and something like that. Unfortunately though, we're getting butt kicked by Captain Falcon as usual, which I really freaking despise. But even then though, it's mostly because of due to the fact that how it's much more difficult to hit down. Oh god, I seriously hate explosions. Why is there always explosions in any sort of matches so far? Like, I seriously really hate this little, rubber banding, bombs placement. Like, the bomb is usually the best, like, the most hazardous in some battles. Especially you don't want to let your percentage meter goes really ridiculously high. I kind of agree to that, because whenever I did manage to try this out for myself, amongst all with Mario, Luigi, and Bowser so far, that I seriously get butt kicked by the bombs, especially when I play Super Smash Bros. Brawl or something. Well, here's another secret track that you might actually listen to. I think this track is known as Mother 2, excluding if you actually be playing this stage on Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And even then though, that I'm assuming in order to actually get to those alternate music in some stages, that I think you have to hold down the L and R button in order to do it. Or this is just a Z button, expecting if we were wrong about that. But I digress though. So yeah, another thing is worth mentioning though is the fact that we're almost at the ending point of Warrior Land 3, that I managed to play my copy of Warrior Land 3 on the Nintendo DS Virtual Console version, even though we're actually getting quite close to the end actually. I think I got about, how do I recall, quite a few treasures left actually, excluding the some remaining treasure chests in the previous levels that I have to get back into. And also that, while at it, I think we managed to actually say right now until the fact that today I'm actually going to be starting working on, in my own time anyway, I'm about to be playing The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D now. Because after all that, in recently a couple of days ago, that I think I already mentioned this before in Sonic Rivals 2 Let's Play, that I managed to actually just finish up The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D recently. And yeah, even though that we might actually tackle for the N64 version as well, but even then we need to take some time after we finish a couple of Zelda games before when The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will come out in Nintendo Wii U and Nintendo Switch. Unfortunately though, Nintendo might actually let aside that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, both on the Wii U and 3D, no, not 3DS, on Nintendo Switch, unfortunately though, for Nintendo Switch version of Breath of the Wild won't be at launch day, so yeah, it's a bit of a missed opportunity I find, but I digress though. So anyways, here goes these ice clovers right there. Well, that's a kind of a shame that how, you know, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is going to, like, I'm assuming it might actually get a couple of days delayed or something. I'm assuming it won't able to be released on the launch day of Nintendo Switch, sadly. But even then, I think this might actually be a perfect timing, or a good timing for me, because I still have, like, a couple of Zelda games I need to complete first, before we actually jump into Breath of the Wild though. excluding the HD, including the remix versions of some games, mainly. Although we already recently completed Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D already. And then the next thing we need to tackle is Majora's Mask 3D. And also I'd like to mention that we might actually tackle through the Wind Waker HD on the Wii U. So even then though, we can actually do those games as well. Now you're probably wondering, does Hyrule Warriors count? Well, it's usually a spin-off game, but it's more likely just a little bit of a leveling up, grinding festive or something like that. But even then though, I probably won't count Hyrule Warriors honestly, because even then though, when we actually did manage to play the 3DS version most of the time on Hyrule Warriors, oh my god, when I play this on the 3DS XL, even the original 3DS, as far as the back in the couple of days ago, god damn, the frame rate on the Hyrule Warriors Legends, excluding if you actually be playing this on the original models of the 3DS and even 3DS XL, especially the 2DS, don't get me started on the frame rate. I mean, god, that just chugs everywhere. Unless if you actually play this on the new Nintendo 3DS, and then as well as the new Nintendo 3DS XL, that means the frame rate itself can be a much more better experience. But that's what I find anyway.
Jeez guys, you exactly know what the frame rate is all about, really.
Yeah, I know exactly, Toadette, because even though we actually noticed stuff until during the recent future days. But anyway though, so yeah, that's all we can say about this point for this video. Is just basically we managed to try out Pokemon Sun and Moon special demo version. Even then though, that the reviews and critics alike did manage to actually love the game, which I found is really quite pleasing actually. Well, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, whenever I've looked up on Pokemon Sun and Moon the most, I think I might actually enjoy this a lot more than the previous Pokemon games I find. Well, at least what we've looked up on anyway. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that I don't know what version are we going to be getting. I'm pretty sure we might get ourselves the Moon version, or even the Sun version. Although the only difference is I find whenever I manage to counter for myself, is the fact that we actually know something is that if you play Pokemon Moon, everything's all in nighttime. And then if you play Pokemon Sun, everything's in daytime. Or in this case, in daylight, because unlike in the other Pokemon games, you do have a little bit of a time system, in this case a little bit of a day and night cycle. However, in Sun and Moon, however, it's already not being featured this time around, which is kind of a little bit of a weird design choice. But, usually I don't think that this won't be that much of a problem for me, I find, anyway. So yeah, that's all I can really mention about this one. I'm just going to be saying for this point, so come on, Bowser should be down any moment. What? Oh, come on, that's not fair.
Come on, you guys, beat that likes of that Bowser.
Don't worry, Peach, we've managed to get this out this time, and we're pretty sure now we have the ability to actually fight against with Gecko Bowser after we actually, use that continue in Pokemon Stadium. But even then, though, I think we still have the ability to chance to actually just fight against with him. Yeah, let's just see how this goes.
Oh, I might not look forward to this. Oh, goodness me, look at that hideous transformation!
Yes, because as you can see, Toadette, this is actually known as Gecko Bowser, the first appearance of Gecko Bowser in the entire Super Smash Bros. Series. Although, granted though, it might actually come back in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and even Super Smash Bros. 4 on Nintendo 3DS, and even the Wii U as well. And I'm pretty sure we might actually get ourselves a port of the game until a Nintendo Switch. But even then, we have to figure out when the development timing is all about. And also judging by the fact that, well... So let's just see how this goes. Oh, great. He's got a invincibility, device. And sadly, we overshoot this stuff really, tremendously. And as a result, we only have one Stark left before we actually deal with him. So, please be a legendary Pokemon. That's not the legendary Pokemon. At least we're hoping for one anyway. At least we can expecting that if we actually do a ridiculous amount of damage on him. But even though, no, I'm pretty sure if we did failed on this part, that if it says game clear, if we actually beat the bigger variation of Bowser from before, we won't able to actually oh, nice. We have ourselves a legendary Pokemon here. which for the technical standpoint is that that legendary Pokemon actually introduced into, he's basically a flying and fire type Pokemon basically, and he's makes his first appearance in Pokemon Generation 2, specifically in Pokemon Gold. So anyways, that concludes Zelda / Sheik in the adventure mode. Despite the rough around the edges in the middle part of the that particular run, but apart from that though, you two did pretty alright on that. Well, despite the fact that we actually get butt kicked by the some tons of Pokeballs in Pokemon Stadium by the likes of these Team Pikachus and stuff. So before we actually end things off with this episode of this, we're gonna have to tackle through Break the Talkers first, just like usual. Yeah, because what I've noticed something is that you always seem to actually just tackle through these target test stages after when you finish the adventure modes as certain characters. Yeah, because we always do that every time, because the only reason being for this, Peach, is the fact that originally we will decide to do this as from all the characters in all 3 of those different modes, but it can take a long time to actually glimpse with it, so instead we're going to be using the exact same method as Slim Kirby's playthrough, so it might be just a little bit too samey for that part, but even then we didn't care less for that much. So anyway though, I see how this is going. Alright, so we're gonna head into target tests right now, so even then though, that we can actually just showcase Zelda / Sheik's Break the Target stage. Very similar to the Link's version, that it takes place in this little ruins type of scenario, but except that it actually has not 1, not 2, but 3 Triforces shown on the stage, which that reminds me of something related to the Triforce represents their different attributes, like, again, from, if you're expecting if you actually just to be look up on some previous Zelda games at this point, that Ganon is basically a Triforce of Power, Zelda is a Triforce of Wisdom, and Link, if you're expecting to be actually be finishing playing Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link at this point, that Link is actually a Triforce of Courage. So, yeah. One thing that kind of annoys me about this part is the fact that once you're trying to get out of this little area, sometimes you might end up getting stuck in this point if you're trying to actually jump higher enough, if you're actually constantly using that teleportation ability. So that's the only thing that kind of a little bit annoying for that part, but even then though, it's a little bit too stiff for my part. But anyway, so let's go ahead and try this again. Hopefully we can make it. Don't fall off. There we go. Although, again, we can retry as many times as we like to be. So anyway, there we go. So that concludes Zelda / Sheik for Adventure Mode. So, yeah, so we're gonna have to end things off here. So next time on Let's Play Super Smash Bros. Melee is the fact that we're turning back into Classic Mode and select the next, bunch of characters that was originally from the N64 version. We're going to be tackling through Luigi next. So, yeah, thank you, Peach and Toadette, for joining us for this particular part of this Let's Play, and also the Maxi Toys channel introduced. So, yeah. So, see you guys later. Yeah, see you then. Yeah, so, yeah, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.